And this represents me.
The first week it seemed like everybody was kind of hesitant, maybe a little nervous, not sure exactly where they fit in, and maybe unfamiliar with working with found objects and sculpture. But over time, it's just really neat how we kind of created sort of a little community amongst us. So it's kind of neat to see that. All of them came in very uncertain about working with objects. A lot of them had experience with painting or drawing through other kinds of art therapy, and just the kind of way that those barriers were dropped, and they sort of felt like anything goes, and they felt very free to experiment.
One of my friends that registered both of us without me knowing, but I'm glad she did. I was thinking about what she told me, how the piece is supposed to represent family, community, yourself, and the world. And I was trying to think of what could represent all of these different pieces, all of the different parts.
The project really helped me understand my community, because I live in a predominantly Hispanic community. So it's also helped me understand where I came from and where I can take that to and never forget that's where I came from. And how I want to find a way to give back to my community. And like I said, I don't really want to leave the city, but I feel like in order for me to grow, I have to. And I feel like that's a lot of people stay in their communities and they don't really leave out there, so they don't really know what's out there and they can't bring it back and change.
似香港，我就擺咗呢幅畫啦。呢度一個海洋，因為我經過好大嘅海洋先嚟到芝加哥，呢度咧就代表芝加哥，所以咧我就設想呢個啦。我喺芝加哥經過海洋嚟到呢度，海洋上好開心，好中意。由於芝加哥冇山，我就加個山落去，就係咁啦。
Some of the things that I gained by taking this workshop, which was working with a variety of women who I've never met before in my life. And when we had the workshops, the room was so full of creative energy. Sometimes it could be overwhelming. Some of the techniques that Juarez Hawkins, our instructor, shared with us as we worked through each week. And it was really, really an awesome feeling, so that when we took the projects home to meet the deadline, you just felt really energized and wanting to be as creative as you.
I have a love for the community center now. I will be visiting it frequently. I think it's a very central part to the community, and I hope to be able to engage others to come and to visit and to see the art, particularly the African American art, because this is a foundation for us. This is a place that has been here for 70 years, and so we need to get back to our foundation so that then we can move forward. If you don't know your past, you can never progress to your future.
Yo quisiera hacer, esta muñeca significa la protectora como yo, protegiendo la tierra, hablándole al mundo para que la gente cuide más el planeta. Entonces me encantaría eso, que todos colaboráramos para tener un mundo más limpio, más libre de humo, de contaminaciones, de basura. Sería maravilloso. Muchas gracias.
As a teaching artist, I've seen a lot of growth with the women here, and I feel like the studio time has been very nurturing for myself as a teacher and also for my students, since I see a lot of work blooming every day. I think this workshop will impact the women who are participating, because they got to focus on themselves and they got to nurture themselves through art making.
I've opened myself up to the world and how I connect with the world in a way that I didn't know before. This figurine here that I found, and just how I was not expecting to find it, and how kind of pivotal it became in my telling of the story through my piece. This kind of element, total component, is about my childhood, and so this is a princess that I found. And it kind of became the center or the guiding piece behind my whole project as a whole.
These amazing women who, many of them came into the class saying, oh, I've never done anything like this before, didn't have a lot of art making experience, and really have just jumped in, and whenever we get to our studio time, they'll just jump in with so many ideas and start creating right away.
In working with materials that I just consider junk, things that really, you know, have been laying in my junk drawer at home or things I've found along the way. And I never thought about making any kind of unique artwork from them.
5 days, a few women came in who were speaking mainly Spanish, and I know very little Spanish. So when we did find a topic we connected on, it was very easy to communicate. And I felt like coming into this, I didn't know anyone, and walking away, I feel like I have a group of people that I've bonded with and connected with, and I feel pretty good about it.
And the things that you see every day, and it's kind of fleeting, whereas this gives you the opportunity to look at some of the things that the Lord creates just at a standstill for once. Just see how intricate that you don't normally would ponder.
I always wanted to learn quilting, and luckily in 2007, I got a chance to learn. I found a book in the library, a design, which was very good for me to do. I was excited doing it. So I did one quilt in 2 months' time finish. For my grandsons, I did a different design on stripes. For the first grandson, it finished in a month's time.
Building is only one part of it, having the conversation for it is another part of it, and so how do I best demonstrate it? I feel like the best way to demonstrate that is to create with the women and be a part of the process. When we leave this place, I would just be so filled and so just in awe of the greatness that would happen in this one room with these wonderful women. And I think honestly, more than anything, it's the process of the conversations has been the most fulfilling.
This is my mother, and this is actually me. One of my memories of childhood, my mother would sew all our clothes. It was me and my oldest sister for a long time, and my mother would sew all our clothes. And, you know, I grew up with these little brown tissue paper patterns, and, you know, she would pin the cloth to the patterns and cut the cloth. And so that's why I chose that paper to put on the top of my box. Well, I really enjoyed participating in the workshop. It was very relaxing to come and work on the projects. And thinking about art is a lot different from, I'm an administrative assistant. I do office work normally, and, you know, thinking about art is a lot different from, you know, the day-to-day thinking I do with numbers and typing and you know, it's very relaxing, and I really enjoyed the sessions. I enjoyed making things, making the boxes.
In my shadow box here are very important. It's my grandmother and her 5 daughters, and they were all very hardworking people. I'm very pleased with the outcome. It's nothing like what I thought it was going to be. Even when I walked in here this morning, it was in a completely different venue, and everything changed, and I think that's good. I can see myself doing this at home from now on.
My aunt was artsy, craftsy, and very much the epitome of the 1950s, 1960s homemaker, housewife. And I desperately wanted to learn from her, but didn't have the opportunity because of living a distance from each other. But I still felt that somehow, like by osmosis, I had an appreciation of the types of things that she was doing, things that didn't interest my mother particularly. And so I feel that whole group of women, female, I learned from them, and because of them, they helped me to become who I am.
Into growing into a woman and really understanding what that is, and really like kind of leaving these childhood things and really opening up to the world, that the world's not so narrow.
I really learned a lot about what it is to conceptualize my own womanhood into a piece. And I mean, I used to sit up at night, not like intensely, but like, you know, sit up and be like, what do I want this piece to be? What do I want people to see from this piece? And you know, and sometimes I'll get like self-conscious because I'll see everybody else around the room has this like really intense 360-degree piece with things coming at you and this, that, and the other thing. But I'm like, no, my womanhood is not like that. It's very, very much more calm, and it's crazy but contained.
For me, until today, maybe last week a little bit, I was unsure of all of the things I was going to use because I had so many things. But I knew that womanhood for me was kind of like a construction, like how I have developed and taken certain things and constantly working on myself and my gender expression and gender identity. So I wanted the piece to feel also similar to that.
En este lugar es el espacio para la mujer, donde le mando cartitas para decirle lo que significa, lo que vale, lo que hace. Le mandé una carta hablándole sobre la belleza. Muy bonito, quizás no son las palabras correctas, pero no sé cómo expresar lo que significa la belleza de la mujer.
We just sit around a table, drink coffee, talk about women's issues. It's very natural. It's very, there's nothing pretentious about it. We're not discussing theory. We're not discussing these really big ideas. We're just being very honest and very vulnerable with each other. And that has been the most fulfilling experience for me. And if you can just consider what kind of impact this can make on other groups and other women, I just think this is the way that we overcome. This is the way that we really integrate ourselves as a community.
Since I'm in the military, I move around all the time, so I don't always get to make a strong connection with the community that I'm living in. So this was a really great opportunity to connect with the gay and lesbian community and also the woman community in the greater Chicago area.
A feeling of happiness and fun. Every time I left this place on Saturday, I would just feel so good, and it was just a really fun, exciting experience. I like to learn new things, and I learned a lot of new things doing this, and I just felt very creative, and I got to exercise my imagination too. I think that was really good.
So seeing them be in the process of the art making, I think is also really wonderful because they're learning from each other, they're learning with each other. They're making these things that they struggle with, and it's okay to struggle with it. And I think more than anything that's been part of the pleasure is the struggle, is knowing that you don't always have to have it all together, but being in solidarity with one another and being able to encourage each other is really powerful.
I kind of look at the community differently because I was looking for things to that I could put in, that I could include in my artwork, and you know, you notice a lot of useful things, you know, that you never noticed before.
知係西人啦，咁教我哋點教我哋。雖然我哋唔識，即係真正會翻譯俾我哋聽㗎嘛。即係我覺得佢好好咯，你中意你思考到乜嘢你就整乜嘢。
即係你好中意呢個機會有個西人教你，同佢有個相處。
係啊係啊，即係接觸下佢哋啲性格啊，嗰啲生活情況啊，咁樣咁咪自己咪懂得咯，因為我唔識㗎嘛，係嘛？